Marketing automation's been around for a few years, but it's as far as the matureness in the industry is, it's still growing and consolidating. You can see here, apparently it started back in 1992, and you can see there's silver pop up there. Yeah, silver pops up there in 99. IBM last year, and you can see it's gone through and it's got all the bits and pieces like HubSpot, Marketo, and everyone that's been there along the way. I'll just go back here. This is Jeff Pullis. I'm pretty sure that anyone's into automation or marketing and stuff like that would have heard of Jeff Pullis. And he's been around for a long time. And there's a grid there, hang on a sec. And then, over here, you can see in the last few years, 2000 to 2014, is when everyone else is buying out everyone else. And the number of options that were out there with all those players that have been around for a number of years all sort of started to reduce a lot because they saw, hang on a sec, this industry is going really well, people are using it, there's going to be a lot of money, let's buy out all of our competition and other bits that we don't have and throw them into our main products. And so that's been something that's been happening right up to every day basically. There's someone else that's been bought out by someone else and another tool that you thought was really great and you can't no longer have access to unless you sign up with Salesforce or something, which is awesome. But marketing automation is a growing industry. There's over $32 billion spent by 2018 as far as Forbes is concerned, so that's pretty huge. And between 2014 and 2019, just the software side of it is going to be about 1.7 times what it is at the moment as well over the next 4 years. So it's growing all the time. There's a heap of extra options that are coming out every single day, and that means that the number of choices that we have available to do the number of different things is growing all the time. That makes it very confusing for people to be able to work out what they're going to be able to use. And so part of that and what we're wanting to do is have some presentations following me, which will go over a number of different options and different areas that those options will service, whether it be a platform, services, whatever it happens to be. We'll try to not overly overburden and confuse it to start off with, and as we head towards the end of the night we should have some more simplistic and less confusing ways for you to go away so that you're not just thinking, oh my god, there's 1,000 things. And what I'd also like to do before you leave tonight is also have a bit of a Q&A with you guys and find out the main areas that you would like to see in a product comparison matrix. So if we get up a spreadsheet of all the different products that are out there, what are the bits that are most important for you to know, whether it's got social media, whether it's got landing pages, A to B testing, whether it's email and things as well. And so those things that we can actually make up a product matrix for you. Because there's so many different options that are out there. Your Entreport, your Futuresoft, Marketo, MailChimp, which is an important thing because they sponsor our drinks and food, so I need to mention those guys. And there's a number of sites, G2 Crowd, that have like a matrix of different options that are up there that are well-known ones. And where's this one here? And one of the really cool things with our automation tools is if you go to any of these growth hacking websites like growthtools.io, they've got an area that's just about automation, where it's talking about some of the products that we've been talking about, but it's also talking things about things like paid ad marketing automation, remarketing automation, products like Zapier that allow us to integrate services without that don't naturally talk to each other, so that we can automate and generate good data. If this, then that. And then your traditional marketing automation campaign and platforms like Autopilot, Active Campaign and stuff like that we'll be covering a little bit more of with David, who is going to start talking about it now.
Okay, my name is David Nachi. I'm just going to be touching on marketing automation platforms and tools, and basically splitting them into different categories so we can actually see what categories are out there, find what tool fits your business. Because really, in the automation tool, there's so many tools out there, and the really interesting thing is you can get confused by what these tools do and if they really fit your business. Ultimately, I recommend that you basically study your customer life cycle, see how the tool fits into your business. You definitely want to consider using a tool that definitely caters for where you definitely will find your marketers. Like if you have customers that spend most of your time on LinkedIn, then you want to get to an application that has that social media feature or that has very strong social media presence as opposed to something that has strength in our area. So we're probably touching all these categories and seeing how we can fit our entire strategy to the tools that are available in the market. So here is a very basic picture of what most businesses use marketing automation for. We see email marketing, so has level CRM integration, just like Euro CRM, is very high as well. We have campaign management. Most of these things are things that businesses look forward to when they are about to apply and get a marketing automation platform. But nevertheless, there's a lot of categories out there. Most of them are very robust, and some of them do just about everything, but some of them also do some things better than the others. So we really have to put those things into consideration when we're choosing the platforms that we're intending to use as a business, and so as to basically analyze and attain our ROI and investment that we made into these tools. One of the biggest ones, and real big names in the market, definitely not limited to these options, are also Marketo, Loquat, Paddock, and the really interesting things about these tools are they basically cover almost every category that you find out there, except for a few really. They come with the social media features, the email campaign marketing, email side of things. They really help you cater for your tracking, your landing pages and all that. So most of the time, most businesses just go for these kind of tools because it definitely has all the works in them. Besides that, there are other automation tools, and automation has been out there for a very long time. A lot of businesses have been using these tools, especially for transactional emails. The interesting thing about transactional emails, automation tools are they cater for one-off automation. So oftentimes we're talking about being able to send out invoices or notify customers on when they have some kind of if there's a promotion or something, or essentially receipt invoices. And most of these tools actually do it for them. You have Mandarin, SendGrid, and Amazon SES is a really good platform that ties in with Sendly, and it helps you actually send it assists you send your transactional email. And the really popular side of marketing automation, which a lot of people are very familiar with, is drip email, which is where you have your workflow, your campaign management. And drip is a very, very popular part of marketing automation, because email is almost the easiest channel to automate in some sense. And with drip emails, you have drip, you have customer IO, Vero, Sendloop, QuickMail. Most of these platforms actually have very strong strengths in that email automation, that drip email style of automating. Another one we're very familiar with would be the newsletter automation. MailChimp is very, very good with that, and it's actually really good for a lot of businesses who could concentrate very much on sending out promotional emails and sending out offers, and most of them really use these tools very well to further their promotions. And I'm not saying that most of these tools are just restricted to this category. Sometimes they actually do more than the category that they happen to be listed under, but the thing to note is they originally started with this category, so they have very strong strengths and they have experience in being able to cater for that. category particularly. This mobile marketing automation is not very popular, but it is very essential. And we see ourselves going towards that big transition where people are no longer doing much transactions on desktops and they're going online, and we see a future where people spend more time on their mobile phones as opposed to on desktops. And mobile marketing automation is a very interesting field that we see growing in the next few years, especially in SMS marketing. Some of these tools are very good at that. They help you manage that SMS marketing side of things, and it's very, very specific to mobiles and that smartphone environment, still being able to retrieve via notifications in mobile and apps as well. CRM automation is definitely one of the very big ones, and you guys are familiar with our CRM, which we had a conversation about today. And this is a very interesting field because most of these tools actually take CRM model and then they go beyond that and expand on it and take it on to that next level. They come off very well with, they pull off that lead nurturing side of automation, that lead scoring side of things, and they help you manage your customers and get them through that sales funnel and actually help you map out structurally in a very beautiful way the customer life cycle, so you can see what they've been doing, and especially for businesses who also not have that offline side of marketing where they have to make calls and have to follow up with customers. It's a very, most of these platforms are very, very good to work on, and as opposed to some of them that are mostly focused on the digital side of things, they cater for the tracking, they really don't consider that other side, that offline side where you really have to make calls and still follow up with these customers. Social media marketing automation is a very big one too out there. There's Buffer, there's Hootsuite, and Social Open. Most of these tools actually really help you automate your posts, and you can schedule them beforehand. And the good part of it is you really want to use these tools, especially when it fits into your market. Most of these tools will basically cover your basic social media platform, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. But we see a future of getting other platforms involved, like you did mention earlier on meetup. You see a future where automation systems will be able to integrate other platforms like meetup, events as well, and get them all integrated so you can get all your data and your analytics, and then use the information gathered from that to influence your business. And then one of my favorites is predictive intelligence, and this is not a very popular field in the marketing automation world, but it's very, very essential, especially for B2C customers and for businesses that tend to provide content that try to provide content that's tailored specifically to their customers. Predictive intelligence is really, really helps a lot of business actually influence the way information is presented. It's really basic way of putting this out there is, say for example, you have an e-commerce store and you need to actually render products on the catalog that are relative to the customer's use, and then you can actually estimate what categories these customers will most likely want to see based on what they've viewed in the past and what channels they've actually visited, and you can actually monitor their entire process and say, hey, this person has been to LinkedIn, they're on our Facebook page, therefore this is the kind of information that will be relevant to them, this is what they'll be interested in. Advertising automation is a very interesting one too, and it's quite popular these days. Programmatic marketing, as some of you know, the ads to become product is very good. You set your ads out there and then it basically automates for you, helps you target or whatnot. PPC automation is a very strong one too, very interesting for people who do a lot of advertising as well. They really want to get their keywords out there and get their Google search ranking. Automating that side of things is very important as well, so you can save time on all of that and do all the things. Lead gen automation is really big to the market these days. You have unbound nicely. Most of these things also help you with your A/B split testing, so you can get your tracking, find out what your users are doing on your site and actually follow up on that. And they mostly integrate with other marketing automation platforms, just so you can actually monitor the entire life cycle. The content creation automation is an interesting one too, because we find that a lot of people have content skimming, as they always say, and a lot of people find that industry really tedious when they have to source information, and timely information is very important to know. You have to know what the trends are, you have to tailor that information to fit your marketing message. And one of my favorites is Google Alerts, because if I'm working with certain clients or I have certain industry, I put a keyword in and it sends me emails all the time, and there's that keyword has been mentioned in the industry, and I can tailor that to fit my message, saying, hey, the sun it's going to be really nice weather today, why don't you purchase this outfit? And that basically helps customers to feel like you actually are thinking about them before you send the messages. Marketing and sales task automation is a very interesting area as well. This is quite relevant to this world where there's so many tools out there, and all of them do really good things in their own ways. And the task automation side of things is being able to integrate all of these using one particular platform. Zap is a very interesting one too, and Zap later on we're talking about integrating multiple systems together and being able to get all these platforms to work together, especially if you're considering using two platforms that do some things very, very well, but are not necessarily the same platform. And then an area hopefully we're looking forward to growth in would be support automation and intelligence systems. And I say this because marketing is also merged into support nowadays. So you get a lot of businesses trying to automate that support system. Facebook is hopefully introducing, and you have some companies in Europe introducing that customer support automation system with artificial intelligence that can actually read what the customers are saying, understand what they're talking about, even if they're talking like everyone else, and they're not really putting their words in a certain particular form. And Facebook has been able to create artificial intelligence. There's been a lot of research around that lately. Intelligent systems, the systems that can actually predict where the market is trending towards, and actually recommend the best possible solutions. Most likely something that we'll be looking forward to seeing systems pop up in the near future around. And yeah, there's the categories. So be sure to go out there and do some research and find categories that fit what you need to do and use automation in the best possible way. Thank you.
You're a speed speaker. Okay, Zach's going to cover off some stuff now.
Have you done this before? It's like, okay, well, there's no automation. Well, that's like,
Okay, while Zach is remembering his password, I'll ask you some questions. From what David said and what we saw through our CRM and the Q&A session and stuff after that, you've got a reasonable idea of the different areas of marketing automation and CRM what it can all cover. If you could just yell out to me the points that you think are most important that you would like to be able to gain knowledge of, that if we had a matrix of all the different products, what you think are the most important things that we should have scoring against for getting those products in.
Nurturing.
So we've got lead nurturing. Apart from lead nurture, is there any extra bits around actual lead nurturing that are important? Or just a general concept? Yeah. Come on, lead nurturing, that's it.
I'd like to learn about more about reporting. I know this is reporting.
Yeah.
But more about the external system of how they are related, different sorts of results, and then have to review. Maybe you can do something else. So
Yellowfin. Yeah, Yellowfin are a good data integration company that do excellent.
maybe you use CRM plug review into something.
So data and reporting, drill downs.
Customer scoring. So,
The scoring. Yeah, lead scoring. Yeah.
Just a question. How many of you, just show of hands, how many of you use B2B businesses here or B2C? B2B first. Show of hands. And B2C?
It's almost half, isn't it?
Apparently I forgot my password. Okay. So we have the last password.
You can help me. Oh, okay.
Cleaning lists, like list cleaning techniques, a little bit more analytics.
List cleaning, analytics.
Analytics and the connection between like a CRM system and
Would that be something more like a Google Analytics dashboard or something like that? Or?
yeah, just even just to see the flow, like yeah, the same.
So that's like a flow through a sales funnel type thing, or a flow through customer histories? Both? Okay.
Using marketing automation to integrate into operational stuff like workflow software, and how you can sort of feed it in when you kick off the operational side. So you
As in workflow software, as in like
exactly.
project management software, you mean?
Yeah, maybe, or it could be something like Workflow Max, where you have some contact and then you start doing operational stuff on it. So then you've got a workflow where you have a team that needs to be fed certain stuff.
So stuff like an open API?
Yeah, maybe.
So if it had an open API, how does Zapier integration? And Zapier connects to hundreds of other things, then you'll be able to push it through, and 90% of that's free. Okay, that'll be enough to start with. It's okay. Yeah.
Sequence design, so how to successful onboarding process, successful wholesale, successful client sequence, for example, customer transaction.
So like pre-built workflows. Yeah, pre-built workflows.
If it's into the next month's presentation, there'll be something around strategy and being able to have that fit into your entire business workflow, onboarding, your acquisition.
Some of the tools that sort of I was looking at, because I was actually going to make up a spreadsheet and present it to you tonight, and I just looked at it and I thought, oh my god, there's so much. Why don't I just find out what's actually important to you, and then I can put that into a spreadsheet.
I got probably a weird one. If your objective is not sales but engagement, how do you find something that fits that and measures that?
Yeah. So measuring engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you don't.
I'm not on the sales side. I'm on the marketing side. So my stuff about marketing is all about engagement. Because if you're not engaged, then all you're doing is selling stuff. No one likes to be sold to.
Yeah, exactly. Try to find an appropriate CRM tool.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Personalization. Yeah. There's a huge one in marketing automation, and it's not just in emails or messages, it's also in website content and all sorts of stuff. It's amazing.
In the earlier presentation, it sort of mentioned how you can integrate some of the communications on the communication channels.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you did that, but
Yeah.
how do you find out once all these conversations are happening on your channel, so you bring them in, how can you sort of go through and see what the themes are, as opposed to you having to read through the data. So you know, any conversations that are happening and realizing what
So a lot of that's about
Sentiment analysis.
sentiment analysis. Okay, thank you.
Doesn't one of Salesforce's products go one of Salesforce's exact target or those does the sentiment analysis?
Yeah, so there's a few. I mean, we almost have no solution that's only one platform. Or we have two or three things.
Yeah.
And the social platforms, a lot of those, a lot of social focused platforms will have sentiment analysis based around that. And you can set up alerts and so forth based around negative assessment, negative sentiment, and keywords, brand monitoring, keyword monitoring, all that sort of stuff so that you can try and at least keep on top of it, because it's just a load of information. You've got to filter it.
Live support.
What's that, sorry?
Live support chat.
Yeah, live support integration, so something that you can, No, I need to know for myself, because I've got, when I was talking to you before and you said, what industry do I work in? So I work with people I like working with. They're in lots of different industries. So it's hard for me to try and keep up with everything, even though I'm in it every day. Did you have another one? We actually had the guy last month was talking about a number of different analytics programs that you can use to sort of do data segmentation and drill down through data. And those same systems where he was talking about using it for marketing campaigns is the same systems they use that brings out sentiment analysis and stuff like that. It's just sort of being able to drive the big monolithic analytics machines. Anything else before I hand over to Zach? No, that's enough for now. Cool.
So, out of tonight, we've come across a whole lot of different systems, a whole lot of different platforms, a whole lot of different tools, but not necessarily one that does everything you want. So how do you start to actually put those together? The old way of doing it is you would go to, I can't remember his name before, and they'll developer, you would say, I want to use this product, and this product, and this product, and that would make it all work together for you. And you wouldn't have to do any of the work yourself as such, but it would cost you a lot. Nowadays, there's a lot more room to making it open. You start to get some other products like these, where in terms of actual developer, all they have to do is make one API that works with one of these systems, and just goes boom, and everyone who uses that one large platform can integrate it through. The big one is Zapier. Most of you probably know it is than that, and honestly, most of the other ones I actually had to look into a bit. Like I found them, I had to look into them quite a bit to actually find out what they did. Most of them, they're pretty specific in what roles they do. Like, pretty sure Cloud HQ is mainly about putting everything back into Google Docs, whereas, so coming from that, Zapier is big. It works on the system of actions and triggers and searches, and you can have things like a new link comes in, so let's put it into our CRM. It's really simple. You can also do searches by data. Okay, so doing that. Press the right button. Okay, yeah, it's the simplest one form. Data from A to B. You all of a sudden have your two different systems integrated, and you have your data replicated. So the interesting one is that there's some form builders and landing page builders around that mean that you can actually get pretty up and running with a landing page or form really easily, and you can just grab that bit of code it generates, dump it on your website, then you have something that looks and matches everything that you want without having to do all the work yourself. So that's where, say, having form submissions separate comes in. And then we start to get a bit more complex. You can set up things so that you add a reminder in, you add a delay onto, you get an action, you add a delay onto it, and then after a while it triggers. You can do things like Android notifications of a social media mention if you're dealing with preloadable, or just general notifications. Social media efforts and automating them is one of those things that is very self-contained to certain products and doesn't tend to be integrated with everything else. And this is one of those ways of actually integrating it in, so they have an integration. Going for what David was mentioning before, full profile and mention both has that very integrations already, so you could have a trigger which just causes your Twitter, Facebook, or your regular, all will be updated at once. And then you have things like coming from Magento orders or just your general shopping cart orders into CRM or marketing efforts. And then you come to really complex ones. So like the Sterling attendee, this type perspective is when you've got, say, a webinar going on, someone does a form submission, add them as a lead, add them as an attendee, send them reminders beforehand, that could be an email, that could be an SMS, whatever. But at heart, in terms of a system like that, you have your way of managing the lists, you then have your way of sending SMSs, and you have your way of sending emails. And like that triggers that makes the decision to go back out. The sentiment coloring right is something I've been trying to work out. I've seen it occur, and I'm trying to work out actually how to get it working. And then, okay, reporting's an interesting one. Most of the reporting software likes, the online reporting software really likes to get everything in Excel format. So it's also the other way you can cause to get potato across. And then you can get into really complex data sources, which is things like Google Docs, or MySQL databases, which is underlying all of the different platforms that are self-hosted. Yeah. At its heart, what I'm getting at is you don't have to go to one platform to do everything. There might be one platform that does this one little part of what you want really well, doesn't cost that much, integrated as part of the green stuff, and pretty cheap and easy.
Sounds about Woo! Excellent. Okay, guys. So today I got tasked to telling you about the updates to Vortic. Now, I don't know how much you guys talked about it last time because I wasn't present in the first marketing automation development meetup. But Vortic is an open source marketing automation platform. It was built by the guys who built Joomla, is that correct? Or
Yeah, the lead devs used to be part of the Joomla project. There's a few of us still involved in it, which is another open source CMS. So the same thing, there's WordPress, but it will be a lot complex environment.
yeah, so it's a pretty neat tool because marketing automation has always been kind of in the proprietary world until very recently. Like you can do your own little automations, or you can kind of work with another platform like a MailChimp or like a CRM, for example, and kind of do automation for you. But like some of the more sophisticated marketing automation platforms have always been proprietary. And if you didn't have money, or if you wanted to work on marketing automation, you wanted to look at the code and figure it out, there weren't that many options available to you. So Vortic is about 6 or 7 months old from like release candidate now. and they've been updated to version 1.2. So we're going to talk about some of the updates. They were pretty major. So do you mind scrolling down a little bit, Max?
Yeah.
Alright, so the first one in this is this monitored email bounce management. Basically, this is just, they can monitor your email. You can probably read the blog post there. It's called bounce emails and unsubscribe requests. I haven't actually personally played around for myself because I only used it on a local version, so I wasn't able to configure like a mail version and test it out. But this is pretty common with some other marketing automation platforms or like sales and support where they have actual monitoring of an email address. So for example, there's some other more superior marketing automation platforms where if someone were to reply to an email, you can tag them as an engaged customer or something like that. And then you can put them on a separate list to do some more personalized marketing automation techniques. So that's hopefully the first step for more to getting better in that regard. But the next one is a really cool one. It's webhooks. So Zach was able to talk to you about Zapier and other little things that connect the dots across the internet. And webhooks are basically whenever you there's a URL where you can send it out and it will be read by the platform. So whenever you create or update an item in your system, if there's webhooks perfectly configured, you can actually kind of decouple your system from where it's intended and use it with another platform. So I'll use the example of Shopify. Shopify uses webhooks everywhere if you want to integrate it with another platform, like a CRM or another CMS. So, for example, if I hated Shopify, and I do, unfortunately I have to work in it, but if I hated Shopify because they don't let you edit the robots with text, or they lock you in the URL structure, or they don't let you add additional fields to content types, what you can do is add a webhook for whenever someone updates a blog post or updates a product. You can have another CMS like Drupal or something, or another e-commerce platform even, read that webhook and says, whoa, this thing sent something my way, it's telling me this product's updated, I'll update it on my end to make sure everything's in sync. So it's basically you're sending an instruction to a specific URL that something has changed. And it's very, very useful for integration purposes. So, like what I would do is, for example, on an e-commerce website, every single time an order comes in, I will use a webhook to grab the customer's email, address, all of these fields, put them in like some kind of, if I use Mautic, for example, I'll be able to update that in Mautic or vice versa, use the information from Mautic and push it somewhere more useful, and then start an email sequence. And this way it's kind of useful because you can actually decouple yourself from Mautic. So if you don't actually like using Mautic itself, there might be some certain functionalities you like from it that you want to actually derive and use it in your system. You might want to use it for your CRM. You might want to use it as your replacement for an abandoned cart email for, say, Shopify, which is what I hope to use it for. And it will be really useful for that purpose. So webhooks are a big thing because it basically liberates your platform and allows it to play nice with others. Alright, so next up is smarter lead lists and tagging. They're kind of both related. I'd actually put tagging ahead of smarter lead lists. So smarter lead lists is just more of an enhancement. Just basically, their lead lists were kind of restricted before. Like you could add certain fields and build custom lists based on what fields you have for customers.
These things like they added equals greater than, less than time period and stuff. That's actually new functionality.
Yeah, so it's more of an enhancement to the actual existing functionality of the lead list. So you can get a little bit more specific with what you want to do. Now, the lead tagging though is a big one because a lot of really good proprietary email marketing platforms have tagging. Tagging is a really basic functionality these days for a robust content management of anything, whether it's a CMS for publishing or marketing automation. And unfortunately, 2 months ago, we were talking about using Mautic for managing certain states. So for example, if a customer was a qualified prospect, or if a customer was a certain thing. And what we had to resort to, based on the interface at the time, was using custom fields in the actual lead, saying like, is this a customer a qualified lead? Yes. And as you can imagine, that can come soon after the 30th customer field, which is basically a Boolean statement. So what tagging does, it allows you to add robust verbiage to actual platforms. So you can add anything you want. And the good thing about tagging and Mautic, what they've done is they've implemented both on the tracking pixel, manually, you can use it in a campaign. So when you're designing a campaign, you can change someone's tags, remove tags. And tagging allows you to do stuff like state management that you can't really do within an open source email marketing platform. Like, if a customer is in the middle of the abandoned cart sequence, and you don't want them to receive your general emails, like you might have generic marketing emails going out. But if you want to exclude them, you might have a tag that says customer, like, you know, is like is a custom email sequence, and your global marketing ones will only go to customers tagged as global. Or you might have customers who are repeat customers, and you might have specific tags to help segment your customer list. And it's a really good way because it actually works well with Legalists, this new tagging feature. And it made what was cumbersome before really, really competitive to what some of the proprietary systems can do now. So stuff like Get Grip, if you're familiar with Federal Active Campaign, Mautic as an open source platform can start to begin to legitimately compete with the functionality of these platforms. Okay, cool.
Mautic is a open source free platform like ROC or others as well. So
That sits on the server,
you can install it from the soft templates.
Hosted version, and you can also install it on your own machine.
Yeah.
The hosted version isn't updated to 1.2 yet. Okay. So the hosted version isn't updated to version 1.2, I don't think, because I looked at it earlier today. And what we would use, because we use the hosted version, just because I wanted to test out Mautic, there's no way to use webhooks or tagging. So, but if I downloaded it and played around with the actual functionality, and it does work, and you can host it yourself. Mautic's open source, it's PHP. You can use APIs. If you're a developer, there's a lot of stuff you can do if you put your mind to it. You can just read through the APIs. You can they have webhooks now, so it actually makes it easier as well. So even if you don't like using Mautic, you can even like use the functionality of Mautic into some kind of bigger plan that you have for marketing automation. And it's really good for designing sequences. Earlier Dave talked about one of the many ways that you can use email marketing or marketing automation was having sequences of emails like drip marketing. And drip marketing is basically just touching base with people, keeping them engaged. Some ways you can do that though is that if a customer, say, clicks on a certain link in an email, and you have a tracking pixel that has a tag, like I mentioned in the tagging feature, that can tag them as a qualified prospect. Like if someone reads, say, your customer history, then visits your contact page, and goes to submit the contact page then, they're actually thinking about hiring you, or they're thinking about engaging with you. They just haven't, like, they either have to talk to the boss, or they're not going to make it, they're not going to talk to the for the moment, or talk to you right now. But they're engaged person to actually make a sale, for example. So that's one example of a sequence that you can design and say, if this person got this email, visited this page, and then visited maybe, say, this segment of the website, that's like generally whereby people who contact me go. Like they want to see who I work with or what my history is, I'm not a drug dealer or anything, the rest of it, that kind of stuff. That's the type of stuff you can qualify. And then you can actually go to like personalization. You can actually just email them and say, well, this person's qualified lead, that goes to my CRM, sales team get on it. Or if you're a one-person operation, you say sales people get on it, okay, and then you send an email. So yeah.
And there is a little bit of difference between a hosted and a self-hosted one. The hosted one's like $12 a month or something stupidly low like that. Yeah, and so it is open source, but it does also have a paid tier as well, and the paid tier does have some extra functionality in the same way that like a lot of these open source projects do. They have like a hosted version and and a self-hosted one. There's supposed to be the extra functionality that is in the hosted version of Nautic is supposed to be coming out as like add-ons that you can add to your self-hosted version, because self-hosted version obviously the limitations like 1,000 leads, 2,000 leads, 10,000 leads on the self-hosted version is totally obviously hosted itself. And Nautic does have tracking pixels and anonymous tracking as well. That's one of the things that I've written down that's going to be on my list for the matrix of things is making sure that there's on-site tracking. Because if it doesn't have on-site tracking, then I don't reckon it's a marketing automation system, it's just a email system. Okay, any other questions or anything to finish off tonight? No?
How easy is it to use it to use? You can use it without
How easy is it to use? Well, you can use it without any programming. The hosted version, as we said, there is a free version. We're actually still using the free version, so unless you have, let's say, 1,000 or 2,000 leads, you don't program this one, it is actually free to use. And you can use that as an interface, so you can either import your existing list or install the tracking feature and install the forms to capture leads on the website. So there's probably a bit of a learning curve with installing the tracking pixel and maybe installing the forms from Nautic. So like depending on what platform you are, if you're not technical at all, you don't have to put a form on your website. Just talk to a tech guy and say, hey, this look at this thing they're doing.
Doing that with Nautic is just as easy as with any other platform.
It's copy and paste.
Yeah. The big difference is since using Nautic, I've probably spent on average probably 12 hours in the last 6 months per client on bugs, maintenance issues, one client, 20 hours support. So if you're not prepared for that, go with the hosted version. Because at $12 a month, it's easier and cheaper. But I mean, there is a free tier, I think, to start off with as well on that. Okay, was Gary good? The guys from Valentin, they were good? Yeah, you thought it was great? Yeah? Jerry's like been around for years in the Magento community and now we're on that, and he's great that he would go up to a couple in the morning to do that. We haven't got any special offers up on the website yet, but what we will have is some special offers on that anyone who's wanting to go and look at putting an enterprise system in place, or do a strategic review for you and everything like that if you're doing it. And that's something they normally charge for, but basically it's, if you're not an onboarding fee, they'll waive it and just let you on. But I haven't got the specifics for that yet, so that's something if anyone's looking at that. And Oro doesn't only work with Magento. It pulls in sales data from Magento when you install it ready to go. If you've got another shopping system, it will pull in data from that and will do the developer time. But if you've just got a marketing website, marketing stuff through and stuff like that, it will run just as well on those websites for your tracking and stuff. All you've got to do is put some code in the footer so it will have the anonymous tracking, and it'll still run the leads and everything else through there as it does on Magento. Just won't have the bugs side of the integration. David.
Yeah, so I just wanted to my start was a bit quick. If you're hoping to find more information on anything that we presented tonight, or be sure to log on the website. Please sign up when you can, and you'll find all the slides there. And most likely we'll be posting information around most of what we just talked about tonight. And most likely we'll be posting an article around most of the platforms and categories that I spoke about. So if you want more information, be sure to check out the website with me.
We'll have some notifications going out through meetup with that. We'll have Jerry's slides. We've got video playing up at the back that we'll have as well available. Slides from other presenters will be available. We'll have all the resources up there. We'll be having another one in a month. It was bloody noisy from out the back here, wasn't it? Yeah. Great venue if the guys shut up downstairs. That's what happened to us so close to a uni. But before that, last month we were across at the Glen Ferry. But the food's better here. It is better here. It's just noisy. We'll be having another one in a month. Second Monday of each month, we'll be having another one of these next month. Last month when we had our meetup, we asked everybody, did a big sheet on the wall saying, what does everyone want to find out about? What topics do you want to know about? Tonight was one of those. That was the first one off the list that we did. Okay, then we find speakers, resources and stuff for it, and then get it organised and get it out here for you guys. One of the other things that was on the list that I thought would probably possibly be a good one for next month is content marketing, inbound and personalisation. I know that we've already got 2 platform providers that are interested in talking to us about those things as well, so that'll be an easy sell for us. So, unless anyone's got any other ideas for next month, does that sound like a good one? Yep. So it'll be content strategy, gathering leads, nurturing those leads, personalisation and email, personalisation on a website, and how your marketing automation fits into all of that to make it actually turn into money. That's what it's about at the end of the day, getting leads, getting conversions. We're not concentrating on that, it's not much worth to it. Yeah? Okay, cool. If you've got any other messages or anything else, go on Meetup, message me, send me emails, send Zach emails, David emails, and, if you just tell us it's all crap, whatever, it's all good. Okay, thanks guys.